Turn on the stream today. Let's hang out over on Llama Land for a minute. Yeah. All right. So I had some difficulties getting in and doing stuff yesterday, and it kind of tainted a lot of my experience yesterday. So we're gonna take another crack at some stuff today. I honestly don't spend very much time here in Lamania, so I don't know a lot of things, but that's okay because what I want to look at and do today is like me checking out the Epic Destinies. We'll probably do like a batch at 3 at a time. Like I said, we'll record them as little videos, and I don't know. That's all I got, right? So my wife was giving me crap about not ever wearing this hat. Show her wearing the hat. Wear it on the stream. What's she gonna do? I like this hat. Ooh. Still hurts incredibly to turn my head. But we'll go back to the doctor, I think, tomorrow. It is sore. Sore and sensitive. Alright. What do you guys think? Should we do one? Let's do one. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another video. I don't have a name for these, but we're taking a look over at the Epic Destiny system over in Llama Land. I didn't get a chance to take a look at them yesterday, which is probably for the best because now we can take a look at them with a little bit of an expectation of what's going on here, a little bit of criticism that we can just put in these videos from the very beginning. So I've got the Primals. Some of the Primals loaded. Primal Tower, Fury of the Wild, Shrouded Champion. We'll take a look at those first. Primal is set up via these 3 paths. You have fire, you have electric, and you have acid. Of course, they have extra powers as well, but you kind of pick your path here. You can pick a secondary power also, but as we'll discuss in a little bit, I just don't think there's any reason to do that. Sure. This is the opportunity that you can pick up your second, like, special if you want to. Your special affinity, your minor affinity. And if you take a minor, it lets you switch out your secondary tier power here as well. So you can, like, minor in it and take your second tier power. But I found that messes things up a little bit later. So, yeah. Alright, so to just kind of, like, give a little bit of an overview here, I'm not going to delve into every power or whatever on these videos. I'm just going to kind of scattershot a little bit here. Primal Avatar, and this is your nature, heart, going fire, is just absolutely insane. This Reborn in Fire is very good. Even like considering that I have nothing, right? Let's see where's the. I guess I should just find some plebs and stay there. All right, here's some plebs. Like, that's a pretty reasonable amount of damage, but something that Tobrel pointed out is if you pay attention to this green circle and the healing that's firing off, it's actually a pretty significant amount of healing as well. So, like, it's so insanely good, right? Compared to this power and the other 2 trees don't have this healing power. So it just kind of incentivizes you to do the one with the extra perk, as opposed to the 2 that are just like, it's just damage. It's just this surrounds your enemies and does 1d6 of X damage per character to enemies, right? It doesn't have this extra and healing allies for whatever other perk you want to give somebody. So it just incentivizes you to be fire right away, which I thought one of the goals of these Epic Destiny revamps were to kind of avoid favoritism of fire in the Epic Destiny tree. Some of the things that kind of stand out to me in here, yeah, natural evasion. The ability to pick up evasion is pretty sweet. It is 22 points, which is a relatively hefty investment. But again, if you're a spellcaster and you're a fire-based spellcaster, I could very easily see sliding these 11 points in, and at that point, it becomes very easy to, pick up some DCs here, pick up some spellcasting stat, and slide in. Speaking of stats, this is something else that Tobrel pointed out from... You can check out his stream and playbacks and clips or whatever at his YouTube channel as well. But we kind of co-opted a little bit last night. But he pointed out that these are the only places pretty much left that you can get +2 to a stat. Like, almost all of that's been removed from the Epic Destiny trees. So if you want +2 to strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, this might be the best game in town. Just something to think about. So it may become pretty likely that it's easy to invest 20 some points in Primal Avatar as a way to pick up evasion on your casters. I don't know. It seems likely to me. The other thing here, this Nature's Blessing, Tobrel felt like it was something that would never... No one was ever going to take this. One guy will take it for the buffer on the one batch of raids that they'll take the time to do this on. But for the person who's got to do it, right, it's going to be for the raids that have to be done, etc. They'll be glad that they have taken it. This Nature's Blessing. Tobrel also had a lot of confusion around these epic moments or epic meta reductions. Basically because it literally is side by side. I theorize there's a lot of work going on with the value of the different tiers and what needs to be hidden behind paths and what needs or gated behind a path or prerequisites and what doesn't, and where things land on the power level. You're going to notice maybe a couple more times this tier 1 +3 PRR MMR for 3 points. We're going to see that again in a couple other trees, and they feel really bad to me. They feel really filler. Even if they were doubled, I don't know if it would be enough, but for sure right now this one's not good enough. Let's see, was there anything else that kind of extra stood out in this tree? 15 spell power is fine. Oh yeah, Mass Frog, we played with it a little bit last night. The change to using the highest of Int, Wisdom, or Charisma seems really good, and transmutation bonuses, which you pick up from the tree down below. I think if you're looking to Mass Frog, I think it's very good. It does kind of suck that it's not a feat now, right? Greater Form, did we... Oh yeah, the Greater Form. Greater Form is another one of these points that could have or should have been made here, where the same thing with the fire is so much better than everything else. So you become a Summer Fire for 20 seconds. You gain 25% action boost to speed. You become ethereal to monsters for purposes of movement. And you uncap your bonus to dodge. You get some absorption, 100% absorption of fire and light damage. You do a bunch of fire damage per character level as an AoE around you and heal your allies. So you become your own healing and firewall, right? For 20 seconds. That's pretty good. Right? Now compare that to Greater Form Sky Rager. Gain enchantment spell cost reduction of 10% to all spells. Gain enchantment spell cost reduction of 10% to all spells. This is literally doing 300 or sorry, it's going to do 10 ticks, right? 10 ticks of 30d6 of damage and 30d6 of healing every 2 seconds. Like that's a lot of gas. That is a lot of gas in the tank. I just feel like one of these It's not like the others, and it's way good. And that's the same, again, repeated down here with the Reborn in Fire. It's very good. The other two are kind of... okay, so that's... oh, the Primal Avatar stuff here. The Thorn guys seemed okay. And the Primal Ally seemed okay. The Heart. I was kind of hoping that you would be able to take advantage of the shared mantle, where your summons have the benefit to use your spell power and main trailer to scale up, to increase their power. And then I also thought that there's an opportunity somewhere for your summons to also give extra damage when they do their fire damage. Or they do their various, like, it might be a different tree. Yeah, I might be getting confused with all the different things. But, no, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so, Mantle of Nature. Your various effects start giving the opportunity to fire off, like, free cocoons. Right? Or extra damage that fires off. Works very nicely. And then these things going. Do you know if you can have one of those summons at the same time as a dog already skelly? I don't know that yet. Do I have a way to check it out? Like, I don't think I can summon... All I could do is summon a hireling, which would be in a different channel anyway. Yeah, I don't have a way to check that out, unfortunately. So, Beef has asked, do you know if you can have one of these top tier summons and a arty dog skelly at the same time? You used to could, but I don't know if you could now. I don't know. I think if you like spellcasting and I think you like to use your pets, I think you're going to find, especially if you're a fire spellcaster, I think you're going to find a lot of value out of the Primal Avatar. I think if you just have a little bit of stuff going on, I could really see people dipping into this tree just real lightly to pick up Cocoon still. I think these Friends of Nature have all been increased in such a way that they're very interesting. Picking up an attack and a heal, like an AoE heal, seems very easy to me for 20 spell points. Anyway, Primal Avatar's got a lot of good stuff in it. Fury of the Wild, Die Hard feat, 20 hit points, melee power. It seems pretty good in general. This is one that I didn't get a chance to look at really deeply, so I will look at this a little bit closer. So, if you go all the way up, you get Fortitude, Reflex, Will saving throws versus traps, and then you get +1 dodge. Does this increase your cap and your value? Like, because some of these things are just you get +1 dodge. If it's +1 dodge cap and +1 dodge, then it's a lot better. If it's just +1 dodge, then it's whatever. Epic Strikes Adrenaline. Your next melee attack. Okay, so these are like your boosts. Does 25% more damage and increase your critical threat by 16. Okay, Adrenaline seems gas. How does this power up nicely? Wow, it does power up nicely too. Okay, so one of the things that Tobrel pointed out last night is that Adrenaline no longer is bows. It's just melees. But it seems really good. 75% more damage. I think if they do more of these extra damages or whatever as extra % damage boost, or start getting away from static damage numbers and start giving percentage values, I think they're going to see a very positive response for very little numbers and a whole lot less math. Alright, +3 to trip DCs, and if you're wearing medium or light, you get an extra +3 bonus to trip DCs. So if you're in light or medium, you pick up 6 to trip DCs. I think this could be interesting because I think the chain builds are going to be good. Can you imagine, like, adrenaline pop off your big chain, wham, wham, wham on that 3 big attacks, and then your trip DCs are insane as well, and you just, like, knock everything down on that big trip. And that's for just existing and having Fury of the Wild and the Savage Takedown, basically, as a Shatter Cry. So this is good depending if you want to build towards it. Mantle of the Fury. So your mantle is you get 5% damage against helpless targets. 5, 10, 15%. You also gain 2d10, 40-10, 60-10 positive energy healing every 15 seconds. Scales with positive spell power or 200% melee. Okay, that's cool. You can adrenaline the sonic damage on Primal Scream. Okay. Okay, we'll take a look. We might screw around with it. Alright, Primal Scream. I don't know, it seems good. A lot of the mantles don't seem that great right out of the gate. A lot of them you have to, like, apply the modifiers to, and then they seem good. So not to completely steal one of Tobrell's comments, but I agree with him. And I guess now's as good a time as any while we're kind of talking about it. Here's the Mantle of the Fury for Fury of the Wild. Where is it over here? In the Primal Avatar tree. Oh, here we go. What? I guess they both look like a guy meditating. How about the Shirati Champion one? Does it look like a guy meditating? Where does it exist at? Is this... Here's a mantle. Here's a mantle. So, can we do something like either to put them all in the same place? Can we... it would be fine if they were color-coded with like an extra thing or something. I think that they should go in the same area of the tree. If you can't put it in the same row, right? Because this row 1 down here needs to be less valuable than the row above. I get that, but could we do columns at least? Like, your mantle will always fall in the first column. I want a visual cue on the character for the mantle. Something, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that too for what you're channeling. But I mean, in like, for purposes of finding it and knowing what's going on, can we do that? Also, if you're gonna have things gated, like, this makes a lot of sense, right? Here's your mantle. This modifies your mantle. Here is our mantle. We will find things that modify our mantle, and they will not be connected. They will not be in the same column. They will not be related to one another. It'd be nice if there was some way that pointed out that, hey, this modifies this. Maybe you should look at it. And it could be like, even if it could be at the same, if it needed to be at the same level, you could have it point into the, like, it's grayed out until you do this and it points over. I don't know. You could do some stuff. This UI stuff needs to be normalized. If you're going to strip it apart, normalize it so it's easy to use. Then give effects on the character. That'd be great. Alright, mini rant over. Six PRR. So if it's only one versus both, they'll give you 2. But if it's both, they give you 1 of each. Literally, if six of one worth two, or sorry, worth three of each of the other two. That sounded cuter in my head when I was trying to figure out how to put it into words. Anyway, may or may not be good. I don't know. I feel like it's probably not going to be good, but maybe it's good. Maybe if you're like trying to push the 30 or something, and you want it. All right. Weapons bypass cold iron. Could be good. Could be good. Primal Scream. This is a nearby enemies take 1d20 sonic damage per character level and are shaken for 30 seconds. This damage scales with the highest of melee power or sonic spell power, and you and your allies gain 2 morale bonus to strength, dexterity, constitution for 5 minutes. Alright, so you're saying that you can adrenaline your Primal Scream? It doesn't look like you can, unless this also provides a melee attack, but it doesn't look like it should. But that is funny if you can. More Barbarian Rages. So if you're not already a barbarian and you don't ever have rages, you can get rages and etc. Okay. Is it tier 4 or 5? Okay. We'll look at it when we get up there. Against shaken and feared enemies, you gain +1 to hit and damage. We have a couple of ways to fear and shaken things, right? Okay. It's probably fine. Now, I mean, extra +3 to hit and damage. If you have to wear underwear on your head to do it, it's fine. Fast and Furious. Melee attack. Doesn't reduce cooldown, so it has to have useful effects modifiers. +1 weapon die. Tier 2, +2 weapon die, +1 critical multiplier. Tier 3, 3 weapon die, 2 multiple weapon die. On use, if you are raging, the cooldown on this ability is reset, allowing you to use it a second time immediately. Alright, so if you're raging, you can run over Bam Bam. That's worth tier 3, right? So like this is your first attack in the sequence. You like run in, well maybe not your first, but at some point in the chain while you're raging, you can slam this back to back for 2 attacks, and then you can move on with your attack chain, however you like to do it. It might be good. I feel like I'm talking myself out of it. I think it's got potential. Alright. Sense weakness. Alright, so here. It modified... I like how they color-coded it, right? So, Fury of the Wild, Destiny Mantle, color-coded. It stands out from the flavor text. But again, there's no way to... there's nothing that tells me that this and this go together when you're looking at this tree, except for when you're mousing over it, you see it. Alright. 2%, 4%, and 6% fortification bypass. Our Fury of the Wild mantle grants 5, 10, 15 damage helpless. That's good. I'll take it. Take that all day. Wild weapons, you get a toggle between doubles. Okay, this goes up 3. So I assume it's going to go... I guess I better spend some points in this tree. Or at least pretend I'm spending points in this tree. Yeah, okay, so 3% double strike. 10% offhand strike chance. Or... oops. 15% strike through depending on your build. That seems like a great selector. Right? If you're 2-weapon fighting, it's good. If you're strike throughing, it's good. If you're just doing single weapon fighting stuff, it's good. Like, it seems good. Eternal Rage, if you're not raging and currently out of rage charges, you have a 1% chance to gain a charge of rage whenever you strike a foe, and that increases to 3. I feel like you're going to get a rage back pretty quick. Well, maybe not quick. So I guess the question is, how quickly do they want you to get your rage back once you're out of rages? So pretend that you only have this. I guess they don't want you to take this 1 point and always have a rage, right? So it can't be so good that you're gonna get it back within the the very next fight. So you're like down 1 fight without a rage. So they don't want that. But I think at 3% you'll be able to get it before the next fight's over. And that's if you would rather spend your 3 points on getting your rage back as opposed to preemptively to have rages, which seems weird. Especially if you're built around in such a way that you're going to rage. Like you're built to be advantage while raging. So you want infinite rages. So you build yourself in such a way that a large chunk of the next fight you're going to be unraged. That doesn't seem like a build. Like, that makes sense to me. So I'm not sure what this Eternal Rage does. If somebody has a logic where you want Eternal Rage, talk to me. I would very much like to hear it. Fury Selector. Fury Selector face. You get +1 strength while raging. Adrenalis is increased to 25. Is this a T? Oh my goodness. Does this go up? Adrenalis damage bonuses increase. So it increases with this 75%. So you're doing 150% damage on your next attack. So like if your next attack is going to be something that's just like completely disgusting, right? That's like 5 weapon dice or 10 weapon dice, whatever, and you have like this gross weapon in your hand. You're just kind of it's the hunt in for melee. Wow, the hunt's ends for me. Wow. That sounds really powerful, doesn't it? Okay, what's the next one? Spirit of the Beast, +2 attack bonus. At rank 3, so I assume it's 2, 4, 6. At rank 3, the effects of Ram's Might and Animal Growth are doubled for you. Is there a chance that you want that instead of the other thing? It just seems so bad by comparison, right? Every 8 seconds, your next thing just goes explode. This... Am I wrong? This is just pure gasoline. Alright, what do I even have in my weapon hand? I have a Pain. Okay. Alright. So what's my big fancy attack? Is it this? No. Is it this? Yes. Legendary Rally. But that's currently not set, right? That's my big attack from this tree. One of these trees. Okay, so our current big thing is just Spinning Ice. Okay. That's fine. Just want to know what my big fancy thing is. Okay, 2,000. That does not seem very good. I'm also not really a melee. Keep in mind. What is my current melee power on this guy, by the way, with the way things are currently going? Yeah, see, right now we're only at 100, or we're only at 80 melee power. So honestly, that's not that bad for us, I don't think. God, I wish I was on Samius. But you cannot take your guild leader over, and Samius happens to be the guild leader right now of the defense guild. Now, if I had known that, I probably could have made some arrangements, but I didn't know that, so I didn't make arrangements. Yeah, I don't know if you would ever take the other one. And this may... +3 strength while raging. Adrenaline damage bonus is increased by 75%. Okay. Die harder. Sure. I'll take more melee power real fast. Oh, sure. Okay, so we looked at these. We looked at this. We decided this is all good news, right? Yeah. Embrace the pain. When you drop below 15, 25, or 40% hit points, you immediately heal a little bit. And you continue to do so every, always 6 seconds, until you are over 40%, 25, or 15% hit points. Okay. Wow. So whenever you go below 40%, you get a heal that ticks up every couple of seconds until you are back to 40%. How does the question is, how does this get reduced in Reaper? Right? If it gets hit really hard in Reaper, this is pointless. If it doesn't get hit that hard in Reaper, it's pretty good. Maybe not. Maybe it's not that good. Maybe it's never that good. I was just thinking like free healing to get you back to 40, and then you can top off. But you're never going to wait. You just need to live through the fight. And if you're looking at this through live through the fight, this does nothing. Unless it gives you a big hit when you fall below. So yeah, you need that 2d10 to be a good hit. That first one has to heal you for a reasonable amount, or it's just garbage. Okay. Sorry, especially these ones that I haven't read before, I'm going to have to think out, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I did get through Primal Avatar last night, so I knew what I was expecting for it, but not Fury. Reduce all damage except untyped by 8, 12, 15% for 5 seconds after you consume a rage charge or use a Primal Scream. I assume this is all incoming damage. Then you get to fire off your Primal Scream every 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds or so you can make reduce all damage. Again, I'm assuming this is incoming damage. Survivability is good. Next. Adrenaline now grants additional 25% bonus to damage. At rank 3, foes struck by your adrenaline attacks are now knocked down for 4 seconds. That seems like great. I'm assuming, again, this is going to go 25, 50, etc. I guess I have to spend points in the tree. How many points I got to spend? 20? Sure. Yeah. So now you're at 100. You're at 250% damage on your adrenaline. Alright, so now it's a matter of can the Primal Force make a comeback enough that you actually would rather do it instead. So all the way upgraded Primal Force goes 4 to attack bonus, 6 bypass. While 2 weapon fighting or an animal form, you gain an additional 2% damage with all attacks. Okay, so it's 2% scaling damage all the time if you're 2 weapon fighting or an animal form. Worth losing 75% stacking damage off of your Fury or your adrenaline attack. That is a choice, mate. I guess if you're you'll have to sit down with some math and figure out if you're better off if you're 2-weapon fighting or not to be in. Because you don't have the one big boom, right? It's not like you're about to smash Becky. You're not pulling out your greatsword and you're just like, rawr, if you're two-handed fighting. So, like, maybe the one super attack is not as important if you're two-handed fighting as opposed to getting a... I mean, 2% damage is noticeable. Especially if that 2% damage hits, like, sneak attack dice and your other trailing dice. I just wish I was on a damage build. Again, if Samius was over here, we could take the time to make things happen. Samius has the gear and the past lives and stuff to support that kind of swapping. Java does not. So, alright, let's see. Another multi-selector. I wish it was like... They should be around together. Right? A multi-selector section. Anyway. I'm assuming 246 double strike. Yeah, that's good. Another 10% to offhand? Really? So you can get 20% to offhand? Not saying you should, but in the dojo you can get whatever gear pass lives you want. And if I was interested in testing a very specific build, I would definitely do that. Like, we might still do that for one of the, like, the Samius Force build. We might screw around a little bit. But for diving on some of these at a top level, I'm not going to take the time to do that now. Again, on Samius, I would have been a little bit easier to do that. If we wanted to do a deep dive on something later, or tomorrow or something, or while Lamani is still up, we can definitely do that. Voice of Fury. Doubles the damage and stat bonuses of your Primal Scream. If Adrenaline or Quick is active when you use Primal Scream, the damage is tripled instead, and nearby enemies have a 75% chance to become confused for 3 seconds. Okay. This was one of the things that I remember thinking, like, could be insane. But I also remember that we were really taking a dump on giving out Quick. And I was thinking maybe this was the opportunity that would make Quick worth something. But now I honestly don't remember where that was that gave out Quick. So doubles the damage and stat bonuses of your Primal Scream. So this is what Beef was talking about. So now instead of 1d20, it's doing double 1d20, whatever. And the stat bonuses. So instead of plus 2, right? Instead of 2 to dexterity, whatever, it'll go to 4. If Adrenaline or Quick is active when you use Primal Scream, the damage is tripled and nearby enemies have a chance to become confused. And again, you're just firing off Primal Scream like roughly every time it's off cooldown. At least once per fight, probably, right? So if you're firing it off at least once per fight, then it's just a pure upgrade, right? So it seems good. Hey, good morning, Billy. Top dog, you gain the improved trip feed. I think this is good. It just becomes, do we get enough feats opened up or given to us on our new level 20 to 30 progression that we can take this feat instead if we want it? Or is it going to be where 2 action points is more cost effective than 1 feat? It makes Primal Scream the highest DPS Sonic spell in the game. Sounds good. Transfer to Argo. You're going to try the server for a bit. Do it. Be a server wanderer. Chronicle your adventures. The adventures of Billy and this wonderful server migration. Okay, I think this could be good. I don't know if it's enough good. But, I mean, it is like +4 to your trip. It should say, like, if you already have improved trip, instead, your trip DC goes to this. So it's always good. But doing that, I think, would be enough to make this exciting. Okay, tier 5. 30 points in the tree, 1 tier. Every 2 Wilderness Lore feats now grant 1% primal bonus to maximum hit points. So, the classes that get 1 every level, Barbarian and Druid. Do Rangers get 1 every level? Can pick up 15% primal bonus to hit points. Thick. Thick boy. Yeah, thick boy. Or let you trip flying enemies. Something, right? Like top dog. Come on, man. I have to totally admit to everybody, I'm kind of having a little bit of a sick fantasy right now about doing like a big chain tripping build. Like really doing a lot of AoE tripping. And I feel like SSG has been picking up on my brain signals or something, trying to make trips good. I don't know if it's going to be good, but that's just a fantasy I've had lately. And it seems like they're trying to feed into my sick fantasy. So we'll see if it's any good. Scarred by Chaos. Gain 50 hit points and 10 PRR. Double if you have the Harbinger of Chaos feats. Okay, cool. Just good. They are in my mind. They're watching the stream. I feel like they are. I feel like somebody there is watching the stream, using the stream for feedback. And it's totally fine. They're welcome to do that. Unbridled Fury. For the next 30 seconds, you gain 100,000 million unconscious range. What? You heal for 10% of your max hit points every 5 seconds. And your things are increased by half of their base values. Strength, dexterity, and constitution are increased by half of their base values. Base values are starting plus stat increases plus tome ? All of the cooldown things are at 5 minutes. I think all of them are too long. I think all of them could be 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. 90 seconds, 100 seconds, whatever you wanted to use. 5 minutes is too long. That's twice a dungeon. Let's make it every 3rd fight instead, at like a 2 to 3 minutes. And let it feel really good. But there could be a thing at level 31 that makes this thing's cooldown cut in half, and then all of a sudden it feels really good. So like they might be like, just wait. But I feel like I would like to be able to use these kind of attacks. Like every 3rd fight, I think is more reasonable. The problem with this is 30 seconds you gain a bunch of unconsciousness range. Not temporary hit points, unconsciousness range. Then you're going to heal a bunch of your max hit points every few seconds. That's fine. That's 6 ticks of 10% of your max hit points. Fine. So it's like, for the moments where you're like, it's him or me, you hit this button, and you like, last. And if you don't last, you lose. You don't die, but you get back up. Right? So that's what that is. I'm not mischaracterizing this, right? When am I ever hitting this? I feel like I never hit this. Can we change this to temporary hit points? For the next 30 seconds, you gain 1,000 temporary hit points. You heal for your max. So you're like healing up your real hit points while you're waiting. And then you get this boost. So let's take that half out. Scrap that first half. Your strength, dexterity, and constitution are increased by half of their base values. Again, base 16. That's not including the tome, according to this. So even if you're like max, right, base 27, because its stat increases and stuff. So even if your like primary stat is strength, for example, for 30 seconds, you're going to get 12 to your strength. So you're going to get plus 6 to attack and damage. And again, I feel like I'm a person that's pretty reasonable when it comes to my con. Like I wear items, I have my tome, I blah blah blah, right? So like you're gonna get 8. So you're gonna get 4 hit points every level, so 30. So you're gonna get 120 hit points for 30 seconds. Like, that half doesn't seem very good either, right? So you have two kind of... Like, it's the heal that's good, right? It's the heal part. The heal for 10% of your max hit points every 5 seconds is the part that we give a shit about. But that's not good enough to be on its own. So, like, they glued 2 mediocre powers into it to be like, here's a thing that we want to be better, but it's not good enough, so here's a thing to make it, to, like, try to make it good enough. The stat increase is okay, but at that cooldown, I'd always forget to hit it. I just feel like, am I mischaracterizing the buff? It needs to be temporary hit points, right? This currently is like a C power for like a weird heal, and maybe a little bit of you're like, okay guys, put on the last bit of DPS, we gotta push through. Maybe you hit this button for that little bit extra damage, right? Like if this is your last big boost if you need it, but it just doesn't do the thing you're looking for it to do. I feel like this needs to be temporary hit points before it even like. With temporary hit points, this all makes sense. Right? You're way down. You need time to heal up. You hit the button. You get the temporary hit points. It gives you time for your temporary hit points to heal back in. And it gives you that 30 seconds to kill the thing that you couldn't get past without it, right? It's just this unconscious range that's throwing me for a loop. That needs fixed. Alright, next. What? While two-weapon fighting, two-handed fighting, or while in animal form, you gain +1 bonus to your critical multiplier on rolls of 19. Okay, Tobrel said there's one in basically every tree for this. The tier 5. There is. It's good. I don't know why we need to make them so weird, other than for flavor. But couldn't we like have them be this bonus and then give it a name, Nature's Fury? So like... and standardize the artwork or whatever, just to make it easier. Whatever. The Great Leveler. Alright, melee attack. 3, 4, 6. Weapon dice with a 20-second cooldown always. 4, 8, 16 critical threat range. Okay, you're definitely going to upgrade this thing all the way. You stop in place to create a shockwave that blasts all enemies in a short line. The size of the line triples if Adrenaline or Quick is active. Consuming those effects, apply a trip to all enemies struck. DC 20 plus highest of Dex, Con, Strength, and Trip DCs. Yeah, I'm very excited. I think this is awesome. It sounds great, but the AoE is wonky and hard to hit. Oh, is it? Alright, so now I feel like we have to go try. Okay. Does it matter? I guess it doesn't matter. We got plenty of points, right? I guess we try this button because why not? And we don't have any of those. Okay, accept. Alright, so you're telling me that you find it to be hard to hit with it? Right, so Adrenaline, Mantle of Fury, Primal Scream, Bridal Fury, the Great Leveler. Okay. We got a bunch of dudes in front of us. What do we got going on here? We have 2 minutes of songs left. Sure. With this button, we're going to hit our Primal Scream just to see what it's doing. Okay, that was pretty good, actually. Shit. What button do I need to hit to make that thing do more? Doubles the damage and stab bonus of your Primal Scream. If Adrenaline or Quick is active when you use it, the damage is tripled instead. Jeez, okay. Just for curiosity. And it should go off, like it still holds for the next attack, right? Oh my god, that's insane! Alright, Bridal Fury. Let's try this thing. It kind of goes out in an arch in front of you. Seems good. God, it's such a long cooldown. Alright. So right now we've got, we're in a nice pyramid. We'll face the guy directly in front of us. Like head on. We'll, I mean, it looks like it's a cone in front of us. And it's a melee attack, right? It didn't seem that hard to me. It seems just pure gas. Alright, what happens if I, like, attack that guy? Strimtone was just using it bad? Question mark? Okay. Alright, let's take a look at this last one for this video here. I know we're getting a little bit longer than I intended. But let's take a quick look at a Sharadi champion. This one's going to be a little tougher for me because I'm not doing bow stuff right now, and Java's certainly not doing bow stuff, but Tobrel was. And Tobrel spent a little bit of time going into it. So I'm going to point you probably in his YouTube channel for a more in-depth Sharadi champion. But because I just want to do all of the primals together, I just want to knock it out here kind of quickly. So, Fey Favor, you get magical training feat. Okay, I'm in. Done. Whatever. I don't care anymore. That's a nice way to just easy pick that up. I often need a way to grab stupid magical training. Let's see. Each core of this ability grants range power, some spell points, some force, and universal power. In addition, it gets you +1 epic bonus to spell DCs. Only the highest epic bonus to all your spell DCs from your Destiny cores apply. Okay. So if you go all the way across in this, you get an extra +3 to your epic tree. Your epic spell DCs. Pretty excited. Prism, the Destiny Mantle. Again, no way of knowing that this is part of the mantle. Please make mantle related things in the first column if you need them to be in a column, or draw a line, or give us a space or something, please. Please, guys. All right. Your ranged and thrown attacks have 7% chance to do extra damage. Okay. Your offensive spells have a 14% chance to deal extra damage from a random typing. Okay. Back. Prism's back. I'm in. Some spell points. Lots of force spell power in this tree. I'm very excited. Some saving throws. Luck of the Hero's feat doubling this bonus. Luck of the Heroes might be real good now. Jeez. So if you take Luck of the Heroes and then this 3 points, you're going to get +7 to your saving throws. I've had worse feats. Alright, Fey Lights. We can take an SLA with a 6-second cooldown and a 10-second cost to hit enemies in a cone with an epic strike that must make a saving throw 20 plus the highest of int charisma, whatever, and illusion bonuses versus Will Fort. Okay, so it's another big super light where they're going to hit a bunch of things and they're probably going to save somewhere or fail somewhere. Yeah, I'm all about this. I'm really going to enjoy the Shrouded Champion, I think, on Samius in the very near future. Alright, or we can take Hunt's End. Ooh, they're against each other? That's mean. Your next shot with a ranged or thrown weapon has a 75% damage increase. Yeah. Okay, so Hunt's End is Hunt's End. I'm assuming this is the thing that's going to get powered up, so it's going to be the Adrenaline of ranged, right? Some Wild Empathy, no extra payoff. As Tobrel mentioned, and we've kind of said before, any of these things that have 3 tiers, unless they're like 10, 20, or 10, like 10, 10, 20, 30, or 10, 15, 20, or something like that, unless those numbers increase substantially, getting +1, +2, +3 of something is not necessarily good enough. But if the third thing has like a small bonus on it, like 5% force spell power, not that that's something that makes sense with this, but if you had something like that, it would make a little bit more sense, I think, for me. Or if it was like +5 to healing and +5 universal spell power, I'd be more inclined. But as it is now, Wild Empathy, I just don't use them. Unless there's a reason to use Wild Empathy charges. Healing Spring uses a Wild Empathy charge. Okay. Cast Vigor on multiple targets. That's cool. I like the old Healing Spring, but this one's going to be better if you have a bunch of Wild Empathy targets, which you're probably going to because you don't use them for anything else. Okay, I'm in. Sharadi Power. Bribery. Must make a will save versus the thing or be charmed. Ranged attack. Pin. Pin looks good. This charm, I question all these things when you apply them as how they're going to work in Reaper mode. Because if this works for 15 seconds or like a better than currently available charm, then it would be very exciting. If it's this, if it just like 10 seconds and you're done charm, like it seems like every other charm is right now, then I don't care. Phase double. 2, 4, 6 double shot. See, that's what I mean. Like, this is high enough numbers of a relevant enough stat that it's fine for 2, 4, 6. But 1, 2, 3 of something that's not super relevant. I guess again, it's your Healing Spring charges. But still, there's nowhere near on the same level. Like, look at it. It's not even on the same tier. Same tier, same point cost, everything. This doesn't even compare. Stay good. While you're in a Prism stance, you get some extra cold damage, and your offensive spell has a 14% chance to proc this. And it's some extra light damage, or cold damage. Alright, yeah, so they just have some typo, copy-paste errors here, right? So you can do Stay Good and get the light damage, or you could do Stay Frosting at the cold damage. But it looks like the Stay Frosting no longer has the slow. It's nice that they power up with the ranged or appropriate light spell power. So if you're like, might be able to slide some extra cold in as opposed to light easier. I don't know, I like that. That's good. Wait, double rainbow upgrades our prism. See? Same column, everybody. Why in your Prism Destiny Mantle you're ranged in blah 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 has 7% chance to do a random effect depending on origins of the effects. Okay, these effects go with various different things depending on their origins, including melee, range, and spell power. So depending on the thing that triggers it, they can have different effects. Is that what... anyone else reading it that way? I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm in for double rainbow. In. But I would like to know exactly what this means. So, is there going to be an effect table for ranged and spell that's different from melee? And if so, is it worth doing these things on melee to get different kind of effects? Or range for different kinds of effects, etc.? Does it become important? I don't know. Pierce Deception. You gain the Watchful Eye feat in. If you pet blah 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 blah, you still need the blah blah blah. If you have Watchful Eye feat, you gain 5 double shot. So this is exactly the kind of thing that we were talking about before. With here on Top Dog, if you already have the improved trip feat, it needs to do something. This one does that, right? If you already have Watchful Eye, it gives you 5 double shot. How come this doesn't have something like that? How come this doesn't have something like that? Improve our evasion feat instead of just give you evasion. Improve your improved trip feat another notch instead of just giving it to you. Because again, you want to incentivize people to take these things, right? And if they already have a trip because they're a trip build, they're not going to need to take this. But if you give me an extra... Because I think improved trip basically says instead of like your base trip starts at plus 13, it's like starts at plus 14 or something. Something weird like that. So if this was just like instead of starting at base 17, it started at base 22, I'd be like, hell yeah! If I was a trip build guy, you know what I mean? Change it. You did it here for improved deception. Grant you a feat. If you already have it, does something more. Do it to these. Okay. Improved Sharati power. Pin or Beguile. Enemies charmed by Beguiling Charm deal double damage with attacks and spells away under the effects of Beguile. Who gives a shit? They're not going to last very long. Unless the charms are going to last in Reaper for an extended time, they don't matter. It doesn't have to be super, super long, but it has to be longer than they do now. So it doesn't matter if enemies do double damage. Who cares? Also, have you guys ever charmed an enemy, but it doesn't know that it's charmed? So it gets the buffs for being charmed by you, but it still attacks you? Imagine this, how much fun that would be. Alright, and then you have Pin. That's just like Pin before. Okay. Long live Pin. This charm is nonsense. Fey Force. Flay Flash. Fey Lights now additionally affect undead, plants, construct oozes who would normally be immune to such effects. I really like the Flay Flash. Flay Flash? Fey Flash. This is also how you upgrade your Hunt's End to get the second tier like Adrenaline. Whirling Wrists. God, that's really high. This used to be an easy twist-inable thing for people. That's super out of range now. There's 0 chance that you're throwing people probably are going to be in like tier 5 of Fury of the Wild. And then be able to get 22 points in a... Sorry, 20... Jesus, this is the first one that costs 2 and then upgrades cost 1. So this costs 4 to get 30% attack speed with thrown weapons. The first one costs 2, the second one costs 1, the third one costs 1. This is the only one that we've seen that's done that too, right? I don't like it. This is a whole bunch of feel bad. lower it, maybe? If you just lowered it and kept the cost the same. Yeah, you could do that. You could lower it and keep the cost the same, and then it would be fine. Also, immune to blindness is nonsense. This is not a power. Stop it. Okay. Let's see. Whirling Wrists. The day's portion of Fey Light is now a stun, just pure gas. Overwhelming Force now increases the thing. So there's our next tier to make Hunt's End amazing, just like Smash, just like Adrenaline. Are they at the same tier levels even? So Prism and Shrutty Strike, Hunt's End. Yeah. So that this, but why are they not in the same spot in the tree too? If you're gonna put it here, put this one here, or vice versa, so they make sense. People, please. Okay. The next one. Yeah, here it was. The next one was at tier level 3. This one's at level 3. Then the one after that was at level 4. I think. Okay, yeah, so they lined up that at least. Put them in a column, guys. Put them in a column. Make it easy. Use a pattern. It's easier for you guys too. You gained the favorite enemy Fey feat. Again, if you have it, what do you get from it extra? If you already have favorite enemy Fey, what else can you give me? Do I get an extra +1? Do I get an extra +2? Does my bonuses, are they doubled? I think that would make a lot of sense to me. If I already have the favorite enemy and I got it again, the bonuses are doubled. Track. I'm really good at killing one particular monster. Really good at it. Track. Dealing damage to enemies reduce their armor class by 1 and fortification by 2. Stacks 10 times. Track is great for boss fights. Bad for everywhere else. Okay. Fey form. Destiny Mantle Increaser. So this hit the mantle, this hits the mantle, this didn't hit the mantle? It does, but it didn't say it, right? It says while in your prism stance. So, like, doesn't directly upgrade the mantle, but it affects the mantle directly. Okay. While in Prison Destiny, you gain 10 DR Cold and 5 Force and 5 Universal Spell Power. I'm loving this Force and Universal Spell Power throughout the tree. I can understand why some people might not like it, but I like it. Stay frozen. While in prison stance, your range of thrown attacks and offensive spells have a 7% chance to freeze living creatures. Require stay frosty. That's very hot. That's very hot. Alright. Stay still while in prison stance, your range of thrown attacks and offensive spells do 7% chance to paralyze living creatures. So cold to freeze or good to paralyze. That's pretty cool. It's a powerful effect. +3 to all spell DCs. Ranged weapons get a thing. Again, remember how we said this is the same? Again, why is this not in the same spot in the tree? Just put them in the same spot. Every 4 wilderness lore feats grant you +1 dodge. You are always considered to be in point-blank shot range while wielding longbows or shortbows. No, you are always in point-blank shot range. While wielding longbows and shortbows, you have a base attack bonus equal to your character level, 10 force, and 10 universal spell power. But that's not while you are in... Not while you're using a longbow or shortbow. That's all the time. I wish they could learn to break this stuff up a little bit nicer too. While wielding longbows and shortbows, you have a base attack bonus equal to your character level, period. That's got to be the end of it, right? And then 10 force and 10 universal spell power is separate. So the builds that I was looking for maybe doing this on, I don't think we're actually going to end up doing this, but maybe. So my force build character could very easily slide into Shrouded Champion and be quite happy. So we might try that. The last of the cores, Ghost Touch for your weapons. It seems very good. And then Audience of the Queen has the same kind of things that works. Plus you get an epic spell bonus to +3 because you get 1 and then 2, right? In addition, this grants you +1 epic bonus to all spell DCs. Oh, just 1, not 1 per. Okay, so this gives you 1. This will go to 3. So you won't get 4. You'll only get 3. So this is only +2 more. Still, +2 more. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the Shrouded Champion. I think these 3 trees in particular are probably the best ones so far that I've seen. With the possible exception of Shadow Dancer, which I think we'll cover in our next little video here. But overall, I think they're really good. My main complaints have more to do with being able to visualize where things are, having them laid out in such a way that they're consistent from tree to tree, that we know where certain things go. Our mantles are always going to be in this area, and things that affect those mantles will be in this column or adjacent, pointing into them. Then everyone has a epic, what do they call it? Epic Strike, pretty much. And that Epic Strike goes in this spot and is modified and stuff in this column. And then you'll have these kind of things in this area. I feel like they could tidy that stuff up. Instead of making us peck and choose and hunt and fight in every tree, I think you can tidy that up and get some nice organization there. And I think people would really appreciate it. It's a small thing, I think, but it'll be really nice. Otherwise, I don't think any of these abilities didn't work. We didn't check them all, like we didn't go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, but that's not what we're doing with this video. I just wanted to give an overview of the 3 of them and try to give you guys an opportunity to chime in if you have to catch them live, or ask the question in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer it. All right, everybody. As always, I'm recording this as part of my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/SamusGrobo, and if you'd like to join us, that's one of the best ways to do it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Toodles. Alright, so that's this segment we recorded. I'll get that uploaded later. I need to take a picture for a splash screen. Ooh. I don't remember which way I had this brushing. My hair is a disaster at the moment. Nobody look at me. I'm hideous. Let's do that really quick while we're thinking about it, actually. Let's grab a screenshot. Save as Primal. Alright, which ones do we want to do next? Chat, now's your opportunity to tell us which 3 destinies you would like us to review next. Why step to the restroom? 30-second ad break. Okay. Shall we make ourselves beautiful, or should we just put on a beanie? Let's look, chat. Let's look. How bad is it? Ooh. That's pretty bad. Can we make it? Can we make it not quite so bad? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be bad. We either need to embrace it or cover it up. I want it to look like a mohawk. Like I want it to brush around in that way. But I feel like I've curled it one too many times. Now I can't uncurl it. There we go. How's that? That looks like a disaster. I don't need your beanie. Get out of here. No one loves you. Oh. It's been a hell of a week, guys. Hell of a week. Just set me on fire. Set me on fire and roll me down there. Kappa. Aww. Is that a squirrel? No, that's not a squirrel. What are those things called? The fishmen in D&D. A yordle, tortle. It's a kappa? I don't know what a kappa is. Why has it got no head? It's from Japanese folklore? Alright, which three do we want to do next? Shadow Dancer is a strong one. Do we want to look at them based off of their area? So, Grandmaster. You guys ever, like, have a neck or back out or something and then sneeze violently, like, multiple times in a row? It's awesome. I think I'm going to put these in the order that I think they're best to worst. That's not true. I think Dreadnought's gonna be played by lots of people. Holy guacamole, everybody. Jeez. Alright, before we dive back in, does anybody have requestos? I don't give a shit about Dancing Ball. Okay. They didn't have Fate Singer ready at this time? I don't think so. Right, Fate Singer is still... Yeah. Also, I guess before we get too carried away, chat, if you have like a great place that you've bought or not just sunglasses, if you have bought prescription glasses or sunglasses before, particularly if you know about their blue light blocking coating, their transitions, what I really would like to do is I'd like to get a nice pair of glasses with heavy duty blue blocker, but also I'd like them to be particularly strong transitions that I could transition and maybe get away with having one pair of glasses again. Instead of, like right now I have a big bulky pair of sunglasses that I wear over my glasses because these are pretty tiny, so I can do that. But I would really like to be able to go back down to one specific pair of glasses and then maybe have like a nice pair of like regular sunglasses all the time. But I would like to have something that I could wear like for like long trips or something, but I'd like to have something that in general purpose I can have one pair of glasses. So if you know something like that, feel free to throw it in the channel as well. I really appreciate it. Alright, so let's record Martial Destinies. Are we ready? This chicken's not gonna boink itself, I guess. Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another look at the Epic Destiny changes for update 51. My name is Samius. Alas, I'm on JavaBot today, and we're taking a look at the Martial Destinies. Some of these I have looked at a little bit more than others. This is my second video taking a look at Destinies, and we're going to kind of skim through them in general. We might look at some of them a little bit more closely if I'm not as familiar with them as others. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out either in the comments below or at me directly or whatever, Facebook, Twitter, find me in game, catch the Twitch page, whatever. And also, we are recording this live as part of our Twitch page, or our Twitch stream, so feel free to come by and check us out live, twitch.tv/SamusGrow. Shadow Dancer. So I'm going to summarize. Shadow Dancer may be the best tree overall, in my opinion. I think it's going to be extremely good for high utility. I think everybody's going to have a little bit in it. But also, we all need to pour out a drink for Meld. Rip the old Meld, long live the new Meld. So let's take a look at it. Cores are the Darkest of Luck. You gain Trap Finding Feat if you did not already have it. Bing. Each core ability in this tree also grants the following: +1 to all spell DCs. Remember, it only goes for the highest of the thing, and it's very common for the last tree to give +3, but this one looks like it's going to give you +1, +2, and then +3, so a little bit better there. 10 melee power, so 30 melee power. 3 sneak attack dice, 8 range power, so 24, and then 5/15 force and universal spell power. Alright, core number 2, the Darkest Luck. You get Dimensional Door. As long as it continues to look like a big pink swirling butthole, that's what it's going to be. I love it. Everyone take a ride in my magical buttholes. The Darkest Luck, core 3, you gain the evasion feat. Normal evasion rules apply. If you already have evasion, you gain improved evasion. If you already have improved evasion, you no longer fail reflexes automatically rolling a 1. Yes. Can we please just have this same thing? Or maybe not, man. Maybe so we were talking about in a previous video about how one of the other feats gives evasion, grants evasion. But it doesn't do advancement. I would like it to. I'd like all of those things to give you evasion, or if you already have evasion, improved evasion. But I can understand not wanting to have improved evasion go to 1, because this is like your current capstone in the tree, right? So it's current power in the tree. So we don't want to go too ham. But that might just mean that this feels like a weak tier 3, and this should just be how this works always. If you get evasion, it should upgrade. If you get evasion, or you already have evasion, it steps you up the next tier of evasion. I just feel like that's the way that should be. Boom, boom, boom in general. So if that's the case, then maybe this feels weak. Except you have to remember it's also giving you the +1 to spell DCs, +10 melee power, +10. So it works out, I think, pretty strongly. All right, let's take a look at row 1. Stealthy. Its tier 3 gives you hide in plain sight feat. That's pretty good, actually. I'd be pretty pleased to take stealthy. Cover of Darkness is your threat reduction and night shield spell. This is going to be a must for everybody, pretty much. That's not trying to take aggro. If you're not the tank, you should be running some sort of threat reduction, and this is probably a good one if you're competing in the DPS market. If you're not competing in the DPS market, then it's less important. But if you are competing in the DPS market, you should run some things. A bunch of spell points, a bunch of DCs with spear spells, i.e. PK, and 10 force absorption. I'm pretty in. The icon is weird, but it's fine. Also, this is a not activatable thing, and it's you can tell that it's got a square and a octagon, so clearly they're working on this. Assassinate DCs 246 to assassinate. That's gas. It's also low enough in the tree that like bird people could like again twist in. It ties up a tree, but it could twist in 6 to assassinate. Skills give you, if you have another thing, you also get sneak attack dice. That's fine as long as you were getting more feat selection. If we get some more feats, then that's good. Give us a feat every level. At level 20, I'd be totally fine with it. Even if they were like a lower tier of feats, where like these skill feats, it would be fine. Nimble fingers, etc. And they have these payoffs, it would be fine. Lithe is always good. Now it also gives force and universal spell power. We had our first epic strike in this tree. Dark Imbuement. You do 1d2 per sneak attack dice and untyped damage on a hit every 15 seconds. On a Vorpal, your attacks blind enemies with no save. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't care about that unless it works on a boss. Okay, now if you hit this and you do a spell instead, your sneak attack dice are now applied to harmful spell effects. Your spells do... Oh my god. That's really good. If you have a bunch of sneak attack dice, could you imagine hitting this button for 50... How long does it work? Your next spell? Like, this is your Hunt's End, your whatever, right? I feel like this has got to be gas. Stop. Hang on. Let's fill that in really quick. Give me whatever. I don't care. Where? Here it is. Okay, Epic Strike. Dark Imbuement. Now your spells do... Your sneak attack dice still apply, and your spells do an extra 1d6 per sneak attack dice. Are Arcane Tricksters a possibility now? We have to figure out how long this lasts. I was going to say that the new meld is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. But, Yeah, last 10 seconds. Or your first attack. I don't have that many sneak attack dice, right? And this just like... Oh yeah, this is bonkers. Maybe the sneak attack dice only applies to the first thing hit. If that's true, that's lame. How much sneak attack dice do I have? Does it say? I thought it was... I have one. I have one. So that 1d6 that we saw there, that was it. So it's hitting one guy, even though it's an AoE sneak attack. Lame. Alright, I do have my magic missile clicky, so I'm going to try firing off my magic... Oh yeah, we're not in... Yeah, it only fired off on the first one. So that's less good, I guess. I was really excited. Having your spells be able to add your sneak attack dice would have been, like, all of them would have been really cool. I would rebuild several builds and add a whole bunch of sneak attack dice if it worked that way. But, like, I didn't even see the sneak attack dice in general. Okay, one more time. Yeah, it's not doing my sneak attack dice to everything in that area. So, like, all these monsters should take 1d6 extra points of sneak attack dice. And then it should do the 1 extra tick of damage, I guess, for one monster. So it's just not working. Your sneak attack dice are now applied to harmful spell effects. I have 1d6 currently. That did not apply. Just that 1d6. Okay, hang on. Maybe I'm reading this as two separate or two abilities. Maybe it's not. Maybe. So is this line? You guys can't see that. This line, your sneak attack dice are now applied to your harmful spell effects. Is that a summary of how they is that a summary of this ability? Your spells deal 1d6 untyped damage per sneak attack die you have, blah blah blah. This may trigger only once per spell cast per monster, so multi-hit spells only have one additional damage value. So that all applies to this force damage, which I understand. But the sneak attack dice doesn't say that. Or we could have like 10% dodge bonus because of meld, like basically all the time. Meld is, I think the new meld is okay. This dark imbuement could be really sick if you have a bunch of sneak attack dice, and it actually works the way that I'm interpreting it to work, as opposed to the spell. This is a summary, because it would say like melee ranged. Your sneak attack dice are now applied in an additional untyped damage per hit. And again, we only have 1d6 extra sneak attack dice, so I'm not 100% sure that... Let's go way over here. Yeah, see, there was a d8 right there, and then it applied that extra bit of damage. I have the feeling it's just not adding the sneak attack dice to spells. The question is it doing it to AoE things? No. So they're only applying the sneak attack damage to the first attack. The first hit, the first source of damage. And they're not applying it like sneak attack. It's just giving you that extra thing. So if you had sneak attack dice, which I did for that one guy, which is why I got that 1d8, it would give it there. But now, if I have sneak... Okay, maybe the reason that it wasn't applying to spells is because I didn't qualify for sneak attack. Okay, so... This is gonna suck. Okay, we're gonna bluff this magic missile. Okay. Bluff this magic missile. Yeah, still didn't apply any of the sneak attack dice. Okay. Anyway, so that has some interesting capabilities. If it does actually apply sneak attack dice to your spell, for the whole spell, for whatever, it could be really interesting. Meld, again, like I said, I think has a lot of potential to be really strong. But this thing could be sick. Alright. Also, this is our Hunt's End and our thing, right? So we're going to have to assume that this gets upgraded. Again, it would be awesome if we had any idea that it got upgraded based on the fact that it was in a column. Okay. Shadow Form is our mantle, so this is the other half of our power. Again, both of these abilities are the middle of tier 2, as opposed to a bunch of them being in tier 1. Shadow Dancer Destiny Mantle grants 30% enchantment bonus to movement, 25% to sneak attack. You gain Ghost Touch. You may bypass incorporability. You also are affected less by caster movement penalties. So your arcane spell failure goes down? Is that what that's trying to tell us? Okay. But you don't have to go into all the way into stealth, into ghost mode. So you don't have to have the Featherfall version. I'm assuming this is a major form of... that's just the same thing, right? The mantle. It's a stance. Huh. I guess that's another reasonable way to get Ghost Touch if you need to. Interesting. Alright, Shadow Weaponry. We have to choose between 5, 10, 15% offhand, I presume. Or mana magic costs... is it up to 10? 9. That one, all of those that's like save 3, 6, whatever, it should always go to 10. Give the extra bonus, guys. Don't be stingy. No, it's 5, 10, 20. So that's pretty good. Shadow Weaponry. Sleight of Hand, 6 UMD, 75% damage, and healing with your wand. Okay, so they combined UMD and wand and Scroll Mastery in a nice way. They gave it a name. Again, I feel like you can have these flavorful things, but call them a thing. So it could be like Wand and Scroll Mastery, Sleight of Hand for the flavor, but they all go together so we know what they are. Grim Precision is always good. Bypassing Fortification and enemy dodge is good, especially if you're trying to do damage. Shadowcaster, 10% spell cooldown. It's great. Can stop right there. But it has more power. Alright, Mantle upgrade. Plus some sneak attack dice. Okay, in. So now with our new increased sneak attack dice. 46. What does this thing do? Still not great, but it's better, right? It was it's only a step in the right direction. And again, it upgrades off of... Sorry, it upgrades off of melee or ranged or force spell power, of which I don't have much of any of that stuff, right? So that's kind of weird for me. Focus, so we get to pick a spell. They're basically all the same like that. It's interesting that there's an Abjuration spell DC. If anyone's got a reason for this, I'd like to hear it. I guess the one banishing spell, right, is Abjuration. But I don't understand why Abjuration's in here. Dark Speed. 2, 4, 6, double strike, double shot, I assume. Quicken costs less. Does that go like lots less? Huh. That one's... Let's make sure this goes 2, 4, 6. Yeah. Huh. Weird. I guess if you're in the if you're in this as a caster, which you might be, you might want to take that. 3 less spell points from Quicken does not seem like a bank breaker to me, as opposed to 6 double shot, double strike. But again, it's something for a caster. Alright, our upgrades. So here's our epic moment thing, right? We can add, increases your melee range and reduces the cost of all your meta magics by 1. Okay. Or if we had taken meld, we could do improve meld. That would take it up to 15% uncapped dodge. Again, the new meld is going to be okay. I'm going to take this and fiddle with it. Oh, I didn't take 20 points in the tree yet. Okay. Mostly because I'm really curious. Increase your melee range and reduce the cost of your meta magic. Like, it feels like it should be something good. When you roll a natural 20 on a melee or ranged attack, you envelop the target in a shadow, removing its immunity to sneak attack for a short duration. If you have the feat First Blood, both this and the First Blood apply. Oh wait, that's right. So, so if you First Blood and trigger this, no. If you have the feat First Blood, both this effect and the trigger of First Blood now applies in a Shadow Strike debuff. And First Blood now triggers on harmful spell casts. So if you take that other feat and this, they combine together in such a way to give you the ability for spells to debuff. That's very confusing. It's unnecessarily confusing, right? When you roll a natural 20 on a melee range attack, you envelop the dark and shadow, remove its immunity to sneak attack for a duration. If applicable, blam, done. If applicable, if you have the feat First Blood, both this effect and the trigger of First Blood now apply Shadow Strike debuff. And First Blood now triggers on harmful spell casts. So First Blood can now trigger if you take this. Okay, that makes more sense. So now if you have taken First Blood, your spells can now trigger that. So if you like range them first, you get the extra big hit of damage in. Okay. And now, anytime that it... So when's this Shadow Strike go off? On this, anytime you roll a 20. So anytime you roll a 20, the person is going to get this debuff. It drops off one at a time, lasts 12 seconds, so you can have 3 stacks. So how often are you rolling 20 on a melee weapon? Because you only apply the debuff if you have both things off of the melee or ranged attack. And the natural 20. This is just a massive cluster. This whole power is... I think I understand what you want to do, devs. But communicating that to us is not easy. Try again. Start that description over. Shadow Dancer, Destiny Mancer now grants you 5, 10, 15 to helpless. Yes, please. Oh, I guess we'll just click it for now. Dark Armor gives you PRR MMR, some Force and Universal Spell Power, and Immunity Energy Drain. Oh, that's fire. Pierce the Gloom, more sneak attack dice, +1 to hit, 2 hit for sneak attacks, and 2 hit while flanking. We were talking about these things all being like different or kind of weird. I don't entirely understand what's happening. I'm going to take this just to see if it... No, I'd like to have this go exactly... Cut something. Something can be cut, right? Energy drain seems good. Alright, never mind. We're at 31. Alright, Shadow Mancer Destiny. Cloak yourself in magic and assume the form of illusionary shadow. This is where you pick up your 25% incorporeal, your +20 to hide and move silently, and then gives you Featherfall. Monsters with Tremor Sense no longer automatically detect you. Does that actually work? I don't think that actually works, but probably. Again, there's always one of these. Seems good. Weird. PK. Seems good. Part of the reason that the +1 to spell school DCs for like illusion here seems good. But also, does this go off the highest of everything? No, it's always spellbound. Always illusion. Some more spell DCs. So you pick up 3 here. You pick up 3 to your particular school that you like. Say like illusion. And you can pick up 3 more here. So you can pick up 9. It's pretty good. Then you have Epic Moment. Dissolve into a whirl of shadow, leaving your corporeal form behind. While in this form, you are considered sneaking and invisible regardless of what you do. You gain 3d6 sneak attack dice. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try this. Alright, so that's Shadow Mastery. Put on our new shadow form. Alright. So why this is clicked, we are totally sneak attacking. I'm also curious about this, chat. So right now it's saying 66. Just curious. Still 66. Okay, did this change? It must have, right? Okay. So 66 sneak attack. Sneak attack. Dark imbuement. AoE spell. Only one guy got sneak attacked. Lame. But it did go for every spell I cast during that time. Huh. Yeah, I feel like I must be misunderstanding how this is supposed to work. Your sneak attack dice now apply to harmful spell casts. to me infers that I should be getting sneak attack dice all the time if I'm applicable for being sneak attacked. Or being sneak attack. I feel like if that does work, Arcane Tricksters suddenly become possible and very cool. As it is, I think Shadow Dancer is just going to be like your primary, secondary core, if that makes any sense. So you might switch around a bunch depending on what you're actually doing or whatever, but I think that you'll come back to Shadow Dancer quite a bit. Whether you just go in and pick up Meld for that little bit of click all the time, whether you pick up the ability to do traps, wherever that was at, or you just want to go in and turn down your threat. I think a lot of people are going to end up over here kind of playing around with it. Alright, let's move on to Grandmaster. You cannot do all these things anymore. You're doing on time. Not too bad. Alright, Grandmaster. You gain hand wrap proficiency, pretty cool. And each core is picking up melee, range, and hit points. So pretty good. The rest of the core gives us a weapon bypass, a little bit extra PRR, or 10 if you have the discipline feat. So get a nice tie-in if you have more feats. And then this guy gives us chaotic. Your weapon is now bypass chaotic damage. You gain 5 MMR, or 10 if you have the discipline feat. So it might be worth it to pick up the discipline feat if you're going to do this stuff. And you get to pick up an extra bypass. Okay. I'm down with all that. Let's see. Stunning Fist DCs. Rank 3 is some healing amp. Repair amp. Okay, but at least it's better than nothing. Having some sort of payoff for all three is better than none. Alright, here is our mantle. You may now fight the unarmed combat style, even if you're never a monk. I know Kung Fu. Finally, you're unbothered by physical restraints of the world. You may tumble through enemies and are immune to slippery surfaces and most forms of knockdown. Thank you. Let's see. Wholeness of Spirit. So we can do the health key thing, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Could be good as long as we can keep ourselves generating ki, which I think is probably pretty unlikely. But it's possible like a weird Kensai build could make this like really take advantage of this too. Let's put it out there. Same thing if you're working with your ki, you're working with your ki, right? If you're doing ki stuff, you're doing ki things. Then we can pick up some strike through, double strike, etc. Like you just get all of it and whichever applies. I think that might be better than the multi-selector. But maybe the multi-selectors are easier to code. If so, why is this one not a multi-selector? Lotus Blade. Select a feat. Deflect arrows. Zen Archery. Whirling Steel Strike. Or Press and Curve. I don't understand this one. Is there a sickle? The desire to use a sickle as a monk somewhere? I don't understand. Maybe you could figure out a way to do long swords somehow. But having an option to take deflect arrows is good. Dance of Flowers is great. +1 weapon. So now we have our strike. We get an attack. Looks like it does a pretty reasonable... Like it's a cleave attack that does a bunch of damage. Is this on a upgradable tier as well? Yeah. Okay. So let's spend some mana really quick, I guess. Build some ki. All right. So this one. Let's see how this advances. So we go 3 weapon dice and +1 critical to 4 and 2, and then we get 5 and 3. The cooldown stays the same. So I don't think you need to increase the Drifting Lotus. Like, the force damage doesn't do all that much. Like, that doesn't increase. It doesn't do anything fancy. Yeah, I don't see a reason that you need to increase this above tier 1 if you decide you're drifting Lotus. Alright, key projection. Channel pure key into yourself and then project it forward with your attacks. For 8 seconds, your basic attacks are replaced by pure key projections. You deal d6 plus 6 per character level. I'm just looking to see if that scales up. Doesn't look like this is the same. The force damage scales with higher melee or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. 2 seconds. Still 2 seconds. Yeah, okay. So all that stays the same. The cooldown is what changes. 1 minute 55 to 45. So if you like your basic attacks are replaced by key attacks that do force damage, then this is good. If you don't like that, then this is bad. It's probably fine. Like, switching everything over to doing all force damage all the time. But I assume this means that you're going to be losing your weapon damage too, right? Or is it just going to turn all your damage attack into that? Probably, right? All your attacks get turned into that. You just deal that damage. Then you get Orchid Blossom, which I like. I like this one a lot, actually. Spell resistance. 10 spell resistance. You no longer fail a will save. Pretty much if I'm even close to this, I'll probably take it. I don't think I'll make it very often, but I think that's a strong one for sure. +1, +2, +3 to hit and damage and some fire absorption. Yeah, I'm in. Flow of water. Some saving throws. You take 15% less damage away helpless, and you can get some cold absorption. So we can pick up some fire and some cold absorption. Damage to helpless is good. 3 dodge, 6 max dex bonus, and 25 electric. Yeah, okay, that's fine, I guess. And then you get some hit points and some acid absorption. I kind of like this tier. I don't know if it's great, but I like the various elemental absorptions, and I think that these are all good. I don't know if they're, like, insane or anything, but obviously anytime that you can grab some extra damage against helpless, it's good. Some more sting attack dice and sting attack damage, and then you can pick up some evil absorption. 3 to hit and damage on crits, and then some chaos absorption. I am enjoying these quite a bit. Depending on which of the previous epic moment things you have, your Orchid Blossom now tries to stun. So that's range. Your projection now deals its damage per character level to a corresponding element. What? Depending on your stance, maybe? So fire says it takes away 2% armor class, stacking 5 times. So a monster can have 20% less or 10% less to hit, or armor class. If you're in water, you can take away 15 MMR. If they're in air, you can daze, or if you're in earth, you can remove some PRR. So elemental projection now does a bunch of damage and applies a debuff depending on what you want it to do. That seems so, like, weird, right? Like a big jump. Interesting. Now Drifting Lotus attempts to stun all enemies struck. Okay, so yeah. This is good, right? Drifting Lotus, Lotus Bloom. Like, you're going to end up taking this chain most of the time, right? Not Orchard Blossom. Because while this is less great... Oh, you don't need it to be tier 3, though, right? Actually, it modifies this, doesn't it? Let me grab some of these things really quick. Dodge? Sure. Alright, what was that one that we're looking at here? This guy. Alright, Lotus, Bloom, Drifting Lotus. So now attempts to stun all enemies struck. The stun DC is 20 plus the highest of our things plus stunning bonuses. Okay. What's our other one? That is not what we're looking for. We are losing our key wildly quickly. There we go. Now we know Kung Fu. Okay. So now Drifting Lotus should stun things. Why is it grayed out? Do I have enough key? Takes 30 key? I have to like... Oh, I'm never going to make up enough key to even be able to test it. Alright, never mind. This seems interesting. Like an AoE stun. That you just like... do every 15 seconds. That seems okay. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Some saves and some MMR to pick up some good absorption. Some fortification bypass and some law absorption. I like that. MMR cap. Some force absorption. Like Tobrel said again, everyone's got one of these. Scattering of petals, epic moment, unit rallies. This is one that we were trying really hard to figure out before. I'm going to have to spend more time with it to figure out exactly what's going on with it. I think this should be a really interesting ability, Scattering of Petals. You and your allies are covered by a swirling cloud of petals for 20 seconds, granting effects of Petal Swarm, debuffing your enemies with disorienting petals. So Petal Storm buff, you have full base attack bonus, you deal 10% more weapon damage, and you gain 10 PRR and armor class. So that seems really good. Disorienting, enemies with this debuff become vulnerable to sneak attacks and lose 100% fortification. We're trying to decide if this debuff was actually working, I think. Elude the Veil, you gain the effects of elusive target. If you already have elusive target, instead you double the chance for it to proc, so it's like 10% chance for it to proc. Then you pick up some dodge and some dodge cap. So Brel says, why is your dodge and your dodge cap not match? Why do you not get 3 dodge cap if they're giving you 3 dodge? I don't know. SSGY. Legendary Fury of Blows. Some double strike, double shot, some strike through, some offhand. And then if you happen to be using dual wielding, using hand wraps, or using a quarterstaff on a Vorpal, you knock down an enemy for 2 seconds on a Vorpal. And the enemies are helpless. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's good enough. Like, I think Tobrel summed it up pretty well with the... This doesn't mean monks are back. And I think that's what a lot of people were looking for. Were like, the monks need that thing to bring them back. This isn't it. They're, it's a lot of interesting and cool powers. Like, a lot of cool survivability stuff in here. But it's just... not like, you can't be centered in armor, so like the key stuff doesn't do anything. You could get some value out of it here and there, but nowhere like you can from low-hanging fruit out of Shadow Dancer or elsewhere. I'm gonna say Grandmaster is currently Legendary Dreadnought, on the other hand, is good. Legendary Dreadnought. This one is the one that I probably spent the most time looking in last night. It's the one that I would probably set Java to just because it happens to do something. But we'll kind of knock it through here. Fearless, immunity to fear. Each core gives you 15 hit points, 10 melee power, and 6 range power. Pretty good. So then we're also going to pick up +2 to attack and damage, as well as the melee power and the other thing, and then some extra MMR to go along with it, so it's all good. Our Dread Mantle is our mantle. Obviously, every 3 seconds while it's active, nearby enemies gain a stack of Terror. Terror is a debuff, and as you know, I'm a debuff build, so we're going to do debuffing. Now, for other people, it might be something that people just start also collecting because they're in the same thing. I think it's fine if they do, but it's not going to be as good. Hit points are always good. Survivability is always gas. Dire attacks. We can pick up Dire Charge, or we can have Dire Shot. And either thing. I think Dire Shot is way worse than Dire Charge, but it's just because Hunt's in so much better, then you might as well just Hunt in. So we'll Dire it up. Some tactics DCs. If you're going to be trying to pull off the stuns and things, you'll want them. And then action boost. This is the action boost thing. I feel like it should be +1, +2, +4 if you do all 3 abilities, because you're normally going to have your stats even, and you're going to have your boosts set up in such a way that they're going to make them even. So you might as well just, if you're going to do a thing with them, assume that people take the first one because they need to, then we go to 2, make it even, and then try to keep it even for the last one. Or make it last a little bit longer or something. Give a little bit more of a reason than to take it, because right now I don't see a reason for it to go to +3 instead of just +2 if I was even looking for this ability. Okay. Which I have been oftentimes. Okay, more boosts are good if you're doing a boost build. More power attack if you have power attack is good. Combat style, we can sneak. If we're flanking, we get an extra +2 to attack. And then if we have tactician, we double our extra attack bonus. Okay, can be good. +1 to attack. If you have tactician feat, double it. So just +1, straight up +1 or +2 if you're flanking. And then I assume it's going to go to tier 3. And then is there a perk for tier 3? There's not. Okay, that seems not good at all. But I guess, like, there are people who are going to have a down, like, have difficulty hitting. I could actually, I guess, see Java taking this, because I never want to be the thing that has aggro with Java. So, like, getting the extra plus to it, but I always want my attacks to land. So having the extra plus to make sure that I hit on the raid boss is pretty good. Alright. We pick up some armor class, some dexterity bonus, and some skill penalties. I guess if we're a skilly based thing, that would be good. And you're wearing like a heavy armor. Also, maximum dexterity bonus is tied to your dodge bonus. So if you have more dexterity and you want to wear heavier armor, this is a good way to increase that. Looks like it goes to 6. So 6 more dodge, potentially, is pretty okay. 6 armor class I don't care about, though. Dread. I'm going to turn this on and get this going, just so you guys can see it. But it's not the greatest. So what I mean by that is, now they're starting to pick up their tears, right? And now they're starting to get it. So I don't think this is enough that it's going to aggro things like early or whatever, pull things off of a tank or a boss or something. I think it's going to be fine. But if something aggroes, there's a situation where something could, initially aggro on you instead of your tank. And you're just going to have to be prepared for that. It's not going to do a lot of damage. It's not going to... It's just a real trickle. It may not be anything that you're even interested in. But if you're going to be doing this debuff right here, this tear debuff, you might as well throw it in. Again, I don't think everyone's going to run it. I don't think everyone's going to run this Dread Mantle, but I currently am. Crit hits and damage are good. Double strike, double shots, good. Tactics boost. I think this could be really interesting if you're somebody who's going to be doing a lot of tactics stuff. I've mentioned a couple of times that I'm interested in the idea of building like a tripping Shatterkai build, and this might be a critical part of that. Let's just take some points to be able to go higher up in the tree. Okay. Untouchable. Why any action boost is active, you have displacement. I think that's good if you're going to be an action boost based build. Java is not, but there are lots of people who are, and that's fine. Like having displacement is pretty good. While in the mantle is active, you deal 5, 10, 15% to helpless. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're about, right? Strike with fear. Your weapons attacks against creatures that are afraid or shaken have 5 stacks of tear added and 1 stack of vulnerability. So, as a debuffer, one of the things that I've had a lot of problems with is vulnerability. I just went ahead and I was able to get a pain. So I have fetters, which gives vulnerable that way. But as Tobro points out, that this is an opportunity that you might be able to swap weapons to make swaps a little bit easier in the future. So you might start with one, build up some stacks, and then switch over to a different weapon set, just so you don't have to do more swapping in the future. As it is now, you probably have to like do some cycling around to keep all of the debuffs on it. I can't do that, or not have to worry about that yet for Java, because I just don't have those weapons yet. But in the future, I will. But it's possible that with Strike with Fear, it's possible that I won't have to worry about it as much. Or it also opens up the possibility that off DPS, like secondary DPS, might end up also having vulnerability being handed out. And that, again, if that's the case and they can maintain that, you can use that to your advantage to not have to do as much weapon switching as a debuffer. So, like, either way, I'm kind of excited for this ability. Whether or not it's something I'm going to take and be excited for, or be excited that somebody else is going to take, is yet to be determined. Momentum swing. When you use your dire charge, your dire shot, enemies now also must make a fortitude save or be tripped. That's good. It kind of missed the fact that these were like 7 attacks before, and now they all just modify your dire charge, but I think that's fine. Carry on. When you use an action boost, you gain 10% action bonus to attack speed. I have a feeling this is really good. I don't know it for sure yet, but I believe it's probably pretty okay. Can I just feel 1 point? Perfect. Okay, Action Hero. This is your like big, super, mega, ultimate charge. It has everything on it. Attack, plus to hit, melee range power, attack speed, double strike, movement speed, armor class, dodge, all your tactical skills, all your saving throws, all your skills. It's the big mega thing. When you absolutely positively need to hit a thing, this is it. The downside is it's still on a 5-minute cooldown, which, as we mentioned before, all the 5-minute cooldowns feel really, really long. I would suggest somewhere between a 2 and a 3-minute cooldown. 5 minutes is just so long. That's 2 fights, or like 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 6 fights. And most DDO fights are not... There's just not that many of them in a quest, right? So you might be able to activate this boost twice a quest, maybe 3 times if you're lucky at 5 minutes. Raids, maybe you'll use it more. It's just so long. It's such a long cooldown. It's a cool ability, though. Dusk Surge. While you're got your stuff going, hitting enemies with a weapon, there's a chance to regenerate an action boost charge. Yeah, if you're going to be an action boost person, you might as well have action boost running. Again, this is not so much for Java because they don't have like haste boost. So if I had a haste boost, I would be using it for sure. Lay Waste is modify your dire attack. Enemies now must make a Fortitude save or be stunned. So now they can be stunned, tripped, and sundered. A lot of bad things can happen to you with the dire charge going. I think it's good. I like that there's less things, but I also wish that everything was in a bloody straight line, or at least one column, so we knew it was all related. I know, I harp on it a lot. Even if you left a thing blank, an option blank, so it looked like it made sense visually and had a more powerful effect because you skipped a tier, I'd be fine with it. What else we got? Legendary Rally. So this is the big mega attack, right? This is our new ultra mega super attack. Lash out with your force of will. Big cleave attack. Automatic critical. Has a bunch of extra multiplier. Can be used Y crowd controlled. Clears all crowd control effects when used. I always doubt this things when it says that, but it's on a 20-second cooldown. I'm willing to gamble for 20-second cooldown. And then, of course, you pick a weapon type to do a bunch of extra damage with, kind of in that way that they tend to do. So we'll put Dire Charge on our bar. We'll put the Legendary Rally on our bar. And we'll put Action Hero on our bar. I think those are all the things that are kind of like activatable. Yeah. And as you can tell, we've been letting this run back here. All these guys are taking like 60 points of damage. That's just not that much damage to kind of like worry yourself or bother yourself with, but that's okay. Alright, let's Dire Charge in. Bam. I didn't even see like what I thought was an attack. We'll have to see. Error received when trying to retrieve information about any support tickets associated with this account. Cool, I guess. I don't know what's going on, but okay. Weird. Alright, let's try this one more time. Let's just smash a kobold here. I didn't see anything. I didn't feel like I leapt forward. Don't feel like we... Maybe we didn't do any damage because I didn't have a weapon equipped. Let's put a weapon in our hand. Try again. Hey! Weapon attack. Alright, so that felt much better. Alright, so we fire up our Action Hero. Boost on. Again, just your regular old boost. Doing regular old boost things. Let's fire off this guy. If I had some melee power, it would be good. What's our melee power now? 130? We're not really attacking with a big weapon either. So like 5 weapon damage on this thing is just not melty madness good here. But clears crowd control. Does it need a hard target to activate, I wonder? Or can you bust it just when somebody's close? No, looks like you can just act it off close. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of potential in the Legendary Dreadnought tree. Offensively, defensively, debuff-like. There's a lot of value here. It's going to take a long time to figure out the new balance for it. So again, the primary complaint is going to be, can we get things lined up in such a way that we have some sort of pattern recognition for being able to know what's what. Put the mantle stuff in a column. I don't care. Line it all up. Do the same thing with the all the dire charge type effects, all of the, what they call them, epic strikes. Yeah, all the epic strike type stuff, put all that stuff in a column so we can visually see it and track it. If the problem is that you have more things that you want to add, but you want to have space, I think you just take certain powers out and buff other powers, if that's the problem. I feel like I would rather have a hole and have it make sense and have it be more powerful, if a more rare power, than have one more option somewhere in the middle that's like medium. Right, like this right here. Am I going to take plus 10 positive and negative healing amp There's a chance, but it's very unlikely, right? Unless I'm doing a lot of like real heavy Reaper stuff and self-healing. I don't probably need a whole lot of this. Like, I want some, but I don't need like millions. I don't need to spend my legendary Dreadnought points on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So like a hole could be created here if necessary, or like some of these things could just do a little bit more, I think. But overall, I think it's going to be really fun, really exciting. I think this is... We'll come back at some point and we'll knock out the next wave. But that will be another video. Thanks for watching out, everybody. Please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, follow at the various places. I appreciate it. One more time, this is taken as part of our Twitch.tv live stream. So I hope to see you there. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Toodles. Okay. Let's reset this one more time. Clear this out. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. One, I'm super hungry. Two, I really need to take a little bit more migraine medication. Stuff's starting to fire back up today. But I wanted to redo these. This is the Martial Destinies. Why can I not spell Martial all of a sudden? Oh, I'm trying to spell Martial like the name. Ha! Okay, that explains why that worked the way that worked. Alright, so the only other thing that I really feel like I need to address here really quickly is Beef, I believe, sent me a link to some glasses. And Beef usually is like pretty much my spirit animal when it comes to knowing the thing that I'm looking for. I can pretty much always go, hey, Beef, I need a thing. And Beef will usually be like, oh, you mean like this? I'll be like, oh yeah, that is exactly what we're looking for. I like round glasses, but I feel like I should just go with something. This is Aviators. Worst case scenario, we'll battle. And then, do they talk about their... I'll have to look for this, I guess. Basically, I'm trying to figure out, I need to find out the various things that you can layer in. Again, I definitely want to make sure we have the good blue light blocking, but I also, if I can get transitions, that would be really nice for sure. So I'll keep looking. But again, if anyone has any good suggestions on frames, particularly a place that will do prescriptions and blue light blocking and transitions, would be really great. But those are the things I'm kind of looking into. So I need to spend a little bit of extra time getting glasses actually ordered so I can see. It's kind of important. And I didn't spend this last week in the migraine tractionville basically to not be able to see. So I need to make the time to get this done. Alright, everybody. Why I'm doing that, I will also... How should we make the... what should the splash screens kind of look like? Should it be like U51 right here with like big letters, U51, and then it says like Primal Destinies, and then like the other one. The problem is, like, what do we have left, right? We have... Unyielding Sentinel, right? Unyielding Sentinel. Draconic. Divine Crusader. So we have 2 Divine and an Arcane walk into a bar. Is there another Divine? What's the other Divine? Exalted Angel. Yeah, it's off. We could just keep doing them that way, though. We could go Unyielding Sentinel, Exalted Angel, Divine Crusader next. And then Draconic Fatesinger Magister, which is, of course, just going to be Draconic. Yeah, we can do them that way. Let's do it that way. Whatever. Okay, well, that'll be the plan. And then, we may or may not record a couple of these off air and upload them. That might also be what happens, too. Because I also just need to eat. I need to eat quickly, so. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Peace and much love. We'll see you again really soon. And, yeah, we'll try to get some more of this stuff done in such a way that you guys can check it out. Raids tonight, right? It's Tuesday night raids. So Java will be on Solana server doing some raids. If we get a little bit of time, we'll jump over on Samius and do a little bit of experience. But I don't know when we're actually going to be able to get started compared to how late we're going to want to go. Alright, everybody. Peace and much love. We'll see you in a few hours. Toodles.